before running the RAM all the way down, on the ETS controller, we need to switch the operating mode into jog. That allows us to move that RAM right to the position that we want. And for this demonstration, we have some 10 or 11 gauge material here, and that's what we'll use to do the gapping of this V die to the die. So I'm in jog right now. I'm going to come down slow. And I'm just going to get a slip fit on this material. And in this jog mode, I can start to feather the RAM a little bit. So right now I'm pretty close to a slip fit. What I'm going to do is come over to the ETS controller and set my bottom limit. So right now the y-axis is at 8.606, but I have the bend limit at 9 inches. Where I want it is set at 8.6. So in order to do that, I hold down the bend button for 3 seconds. The bend button will flash, and then switch to the current y-axis position. So then when I switch it over into auto mode, it'll know to go to 8.606 at the bottom of the bend limit. One other thing, actually a couple other things that I want to switch is my high limit. I don't need the RAM to go all the way to 1 inch, or essentially the top of the stroke. So what I'm going to do is bring that down to about 6 inches. So I can take my cursor here, move it over to the high limit, set the high limit at 6.0 inches, and then the slow limit needs to be set somewhere in between the high and bend limits. The high being the top of the stroke, the bend limit being the bottom of the stroke. So the slow limit is telling me at what point is the RAM moving at a slow rate. So for this scenario, I'm gonna go for about, let's do 7.2 and see what happens there on that. And I'm at 8.6. So I'm gonna go back to my operating mode. It's on manual. I'm gonna go ahead and release that. So now my press RAM is set at my high limit of 6 inches, and I'm going to run a dry run before bending a piece to see where the RAM travels. So I have the foot held down. It is in auto mode. It's coming down to bend, and it should at the bottom of the stroke stop and release. And that's where I have my parameters set. So even in this situation, you can see if I were to have this in to bend, I have quite a bit of distance until that piece. So I can go back to my ETS controllers, and I'm gonna go ahead and change my high limit to, let's say, 6.8. Now that shortens my top stroke, so I don't have to have as much movement of that y-axis. I think I'm going to leave the slow at 7.2, and the bend is where it is set right now. So have that entered. Let's go back to the RAM, run another dry run, coming down to 8.6, which is my bend limit. It should release here. Good. So now you can see that distance between the die and the V die, the y-axis and the V die is much shorter now. And I think I will leave it at those settings. Once we get into class, we'll start to explain bending, how to scribe and draw square lines, and how to square that up to the machine.